Good afternoon. I had a bit of a busy work morning today, so I've not been able to do anything this morning, but this afternoon, plenty to do. So without any further ado, this is what I've been up to this week. It's kind of beginning of February now, and it's turned quite cold again. So so it does sort of restrict what you can and can't do. So I've got a third coat on the mizzenmast, the main mast, and the gaff, and on the other little bits and bobs we've got up there. I did put the varnish on a little bit thicker because I noticed it just wasn't glossing up, and it's definitely glossing up now. You can kind of see the main mast there. I'm only doing one coat a day, so you can recoat this in 8 hours in the right temperature, but I've just not bothered. The other reason I've done this third coat thicker is if I want to do a fourth coat, you're supposed to put a little bit of sand on. You're supposed to sand the third coat, and then you can put another couple of coats on. So although I really don't want to sand anything again, I've run out of sandpaper, so I might leave it at 3 coats, because that would be 2 coats of epoxy and 3 of varnish, or I might just put another coat on. I don't really understand why I've got to sand in between after the third coat, really, because how does the varnish know it's on the going over the third coat or the second coat? I don't know. Hey, just a thought, isn't it, really? I've also just, I forgot about this. I varnished my little tiller pilot holder, so that's had 1 coat. I'll probably only do a couple of coats of varnish on that, and they're done. And then, as you can see, these are starting to look really good. A little drip on that handle. That's not good. I'm just gonna try and sort that out. There you go. I don't want any drips on the one piece of the boat that you're holding on to. But as you can see, that's lovely and shiny. So is that. And the bumpkin is quite shiny as well when you're at the right angle. Yep, so all going well. Things are drying really well. And yeah, should be. I'll leave them in here as long as I can. Because then I know that the varnish will harden up and cure. It takes about a week to do that minimum. I noticed with the mirror that it was quite soft for about a week, and I scratched it when I took Mockingjay back down to the lake. But I'm hoping now we've got a little bit more time. We've got 2 to 3 weeks really before we go back down to the lake. And yeah, so hopefully these will be well and truly covered and coated by then. I'm just going to cut these off here because they might be useful to try and learn how to splice with. So that's one. I'm just going to cut them straight off like this. No sense leaving the end off. There we go. So those are now for the bin. So I'm having a look at this little rod here, or this is the Rudder Stock. First of all, I'm just going to take these washers off, because otherwise I'm going to put everything on and then we're going to end up with washers down there. The first thing is, this is supposedly the correct bolt with the correct thread, and it says A270, but it definitely doesn't want to go through there. Now, what I want to do, though, is maybe just check this thread. So I think the thread in here's gone a little bit skewy. So I've actually got these. This is a tap and die set. Another Christmas present that I've actually never really used. But what I think we'll try and find, they've got metric here and imperial here. So I'd like to try and find the right one. So this is a 6/18 one. That's way too small. That looks too... Let's try that. way too small again. So it's definitely a 3/8 thread by the looks of it. And right, there we go. Right, I'm just gonna run this 3/8. So the bit is 3/8. I haven't got a clue what the screw is. You know, the different screw shape, but that you can see is now going through nicely. So let's see if that makes any difference, because there was a little bit of rough thread in there. Yeah, no, see, it goes in that far and then doesn't want to know. So the only alternative I've got here, you see, 16th and 24. So that thread is too tight. I'm pretty sure of it. I've got a bigger drill, so a piece here. So that's 7/16. Well, that's not going through anytime soon. So what I'm going to do is try this M10, because that's the so that would be the metric size, and let's run that through and just see what happens with this. So yeah, this one, well, let's just do it. I'm just gonna do it, and you know, the worst case scenario, we just have to buy a new one of these head stocks, but we can't have these bolts not working. So I'm doing like a kind of a turn forward. I'm using it very touch and feel, and I'm going back so I can feel the thread crack in. Now that's gone all the way through and more. So that's definitely gone in. Now I could use a little bit of oil as well. Let's have a little look what's happened there. Let's double check. Oh no, that's supposed to be like that. So this tap and dice, it's definitely not threaded. It's looking good, but I'm hoping perhaps it's made this now able to go through. Let's see. Oh wow, look at that. It just goes in. That's brilliant. So obviously the thread had got a bit messed up somewhere down the line, and I think this is the wrong bolt. I think this is maybe the wrong width or the wrong thread size. So this new bolt I've been sent by Drascum, look at that. Now I've just tap and dyed the thread out. It's absolutely beautiful. So the next job will be to make sure that goes in here. Now this really doesn't need to be tapped out, because yeah, in fact it's too big anyway. It just needs to be drilled out, and just the rust basically just needs to be sorted out in it. So I just need to get the drill and just tidy that up. And the idea is this bolt, so this would go on here. I'm just turning it round to show you. This is where the tiller attaches on here. This is then the collar closer, and to be honest with you, this bolt hasn't been in mine all season, but obviously that's under pressure would, you know, it wouldn't stop it doing that. So this is why you have this bolt, so it makes this rock solid. But at the moment, this, oh my god, I'm throwing things around. This bolt's not going to go all the way in. Now the other thing I want to do is, I had this little tiller height part made, or I made it, 3D printed it. All I want this to do is to go in, you know, enough so it just can't move, but not so much that, you know, it's being a pain. But look, I'm hoping this is sized perfectly right. Okay. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try that. So let's put that on. Whoopsie. And then we're going to line this up. I don't know if you can see this. You know what? Yes, I should have a little bit of wood on the top here. So I've got a spanner. Let's see if we can just coerce that through. Yeah, that's going to go through quite nicely. There you go. A little bit stiff, but that's going to do the job. Now, let's just check that. Yep. So let's undo it. If anything, it doesn't go through quite enough. It would have helped me if this was a tickle longer, but it does go through. There you go. So that's actually, hopefully, just make that level. That's hopefully means that this now will be really good for the tiller to rest on. But at the same time, we've also managed to make this so it won't go round as well, which is brilliant. So all we've got to do now with the tiller is to attach the tiller, and actually we can pop the this tiller bolt on now as well, because there's no point having that off. That goes on with an Allen key. There we go. So this is the new motor pad that I've got, and it is Iroko. It's really badly sanded. It's so rough here. It's not too bad there, and it's really rough along the edges. So it's going to need a little bit of a sanding. Before I did that, I was just going to put a little bit of Deks Olje on there, just as a test, just to see what happens when I put it on, because it obviously looks much lighter than my original wood. Just getting a little brush. Okay, so it's this tiniest little brush. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a little bit of Deks Olje in there and just see. In fact, if you look at the inside here, they're not actually Deks Olje either. In fact, my whole delivery from Drascombe is just one big disaster, to be frank. There we go. So I've just Deks Olje'd that one little thing there, because I want this wood to kind of match the darker wood of the boat if possible. But you know, we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see if it does turn it a little bit darker. Also, we need to see if it will actually even soak in at all. So there you go. There's an untreated one. There's a treated one. Hello. So I've actually got these new clips. How do we open this? Let's just do a little from the top there. And they're in back inside. There you go. So these are going to be a little bit better than the other clips because, well, I think they're just going to be more suitable, to be frank. So they're going to do two things on the boat, hopefully, as well. So let's just get one out. First of all, the sticky pads are much better. They're sort of spongier, but I think I'm going to take those off and stick them down with glue, whether that be epoxy or Sikaflex, something like that. But the other thing they might do is they may be able to hold my pipe down as well. So, as you can see, they go down like that. So you would stick this safe to the floor, and you can see, imagine, this is actually not the pipe, but it's about the same size. You can imagine that. Let's just tie that up and see what happens. Yeah, so you can see that actually is quite a firm fit, and the profile's very low. You're never going to get that with a piece of wood. So, you know, if I do a few of those and put my piping on the floor, that could be job done on those. So I can undo that with a little screwdriver and reuse it. But what they're meant to do mostly is to run any kind of pipe. Now, the good thing about these is if it's a flat pipe like that, wire. So if it's a flat wire like that, you know, look, we can do it right up, look, and that's nice and firm. If it's a rounder wire like I need for my 12-volt system, then, you know, we can do it bigger. That's just undone a little bit, actually. That's not great, is it? But there we go. So there we go. I thought I'd show you these. I think these are going to be a bit more suitable for the boat. They're going to be a bit more robust as well. There's much more surface area to stick them into the boat. And, you know, they've got two ways of, you know, you can go that way as well. They've got two ways of doing things. You could even use these to hang things on, you know. So I'm pretty chuffed with these. These are a much better buy than the other clips that I had. So something else I've bought is I went and bought another DJI Osmo Action 3 camera. I'm just so enamoured by this camera that I just have to buy this. And I'm going to get rid of my GoPros. They're just rubbish. Half the batteries, I've come to use the cameras this and last week, and half the batteries are dead. They just won't charge up anymore. You know, and these cameras, they're just brilliant. With the latest firmware update, the batteries last longer, and the quality in the dark of these has gone up significantly. So, you know, I've bought those. So because I've committed to those cameras, I bought some ND filters. So I've only bought one pack. They weren't cheap, and they only go up to 32, but they go down to 4. So I got these 4 to 32 instead of the usual 8 to 64. And these just screw onto the camera nice and tidily, and that will hopefully allow me to do a few little, you know, slow-mo videos, get a little bit of cine action style video, you know, just get the quality up a little bit. And then the other thing I bought was a couple of these. Let's try and work out how you get in. There we go. And these are, well, I need something to connect the camera onto the boat, but at the same time, I need that to be, you know, oh, there we go, stable. Right, I didn't realise there was, so let's have a look at that. What's that? Nano rubber. Can be reused after cleaning up. Okay, so these have a nano rubber coating that stick them to things. I may have to, you know, and then you can pull them off and reuse them. We'll have to test that. It might not be strong enough. We might have to pull that off and you know, VHB tape that to the boat. But I like the way that this actually comes off completely. That's pretty cool. Does anything else? Can you get anything else in here? Just wondering if you get like a little ball joint. But this would go on the boat like so. So you can imagine this is mizzen cam. And then what I like about these are that they just have the same quick release magnetic snap shackle thing. And also you can twizzle them round, you know, so we can actually move this around a little bit, which I quite like the idea of that. The other thing I got, it's not really related to sailing, but kind of, is I've got these. And what these are is it's actually to dry a wetsuit when you're in, and it's designed for a camper van. So you can, let's try and do this. This will actually open right up. There we go. Right up, and then the other side goes on here. And of course, this is the side of the camper van or the car. And actually, that's really brilliant. That's really good. That's sticking. So yeah, just something that I've had my eye on one of these, and it was in the sale. Proper Dave, Sailing with Dave bargain hunting again. But yeah, and it packs right down to quite a small size for the camper van. So yeah, hopefully be able to use this when we go on holiday and, you know, go on the boat and we need to sort of dry things on the side of the van.